Welcome back to a new video. Yeah, I know it has been a while, it's always been a while, but time is short and there was a lot going on in the last 3 weeks. Maybe you have not heard of it or seen it. This could actually be the case. So I want to update you what happened and what the current struggles are on building Tresor. So if you're new, welcome. If you're new to the channel, of course, this channel and my journey is about building SaaS products, software as a service products. I'm building 2 at the moment. One gets most of my focus currently, Tresor One, and I'm building some passive income on the side through some investing and dividend portfolios. So Tresor One is a tool exactly for that, to track and show and visualize the journey of building wealth and building a portfolio, a stock portfolio. And current status is firefighting. Why? We just hit 3,000 users, so we have quite some users on the platform, and big portfolios are coming in. So Tresor is now home to portfolios of 7 figures. That means millions of euros in a portfolio value are managed or visualized and tracked through Tresor One. And it made me think a lot about the pricing strategy, not because we have portfolios that are worth millions, but because I'm firefighting currently, and each of the services and the infrastructure I have in the background gets more and more expensive. So I want to take a deeper look in this video on the pricing, on the current pricing, share my ideas about future pricing, and also how the current financial situation looks like for Tresor One. So how much revenue do we do? What's monthly recurring revenue? What's not? There have been some interesting developments there as well. So firefighting is because of scale, of course. I'm getting into it. I just introduced a new API. So we had loading times. They were very slow, and with one of the team, basically from the Tresor One team, we have built a new API, and now the loading times are much faster. They are kind of instant, and depending on the portfolio size, of course, but this is not comparable anymore to what was previously. You can almost not read the quote here. So I'm very happy with this development, but it also comes with a few downsides, as we don't have a distributed backend now. We have one backend, which means if it goes down for everyone. And before that, we were a little bit more flexible. This is very telling of what goes on in the background, and I will get into a bit more detail today. But first, let's take a look at the current financial situation. So some of you who are following the journey for quite a while, you know that Tresor revenue has been growing, monthly recurring revenue has been growing, and there was in the beginning when I had 20 subscribers or something, I did some kind of promo code, some kind of promo. So I shared codes for 3 months off, 3 months free in the pro version, and this actually tripled or even more quadrupled the subscriber base. But the important part there was that after these 3 months, then it will be interesting of how many subscribers will retain, how many subscribers will renew or cancel. And that moment has come now. It's actually beginning of October now, the first weeks. So I can share with you what happened and also what effect it had on the numbers. So as you can see already here on the dashboard, monthly recurring revenue is down from 823 to 758. And revenue, though, is up 40%. And this is something that I just realized, and I think it's very interesting. It's when you have a subscriber that comes in with a promo code, and let's say they have the first 3 months off, let's say one subscriber for €5 a month, MRR will show you €5 a month, even though that person is not creating any revenue for the first 3 months, but the person has an active subscription, and that active subscription is worth €5 a month. So MRR is 5, but gross volume, which basically means revenue before tax or before Stripe fees, is 0. And the first revenue will be created after these 3 months. So now let's assume 10 people signed up with the promo code and 5 people cancel their subscription before they pay. So basically they cancel until the end of their 3 months free time. And 5 people are continuing and paying afterwards. That means MRR was 50 euros, 10 times 5 euro. And after 3 months, MRR goes down because half of the people canceled. It goes down to 25 euros, but revenue goes up from 0 to 25 euro. So what's better? That is very interesting. So MRR goes down 50% and gross volume goes up basically by 100%. So from 0 to 25 euros. And this is what basically happened now. We had a lot of people canceling and not renewing that were in this 3 month for free. But we also had a few that bought the lifetime deal afterwards, or that continued the subscription. So that means everyone that canceled dragged down the MRR figure here, and everyone that didn't put up the revenue. So if we go to an all view here, you can see that in general the revenue development is pretty nice. We went from 0 to 0 to, what's the first one? 64 euros, 150, 400, 1,700 and 2,300 last month. And we are currently at almost 2,000 for October, and it's not even half of October. So revenue is doing pretty good while MRR went down. And I only showed MRR in the tweets and here on the thumbnails, but I'm actually thinking of changing this to revenue, not because it looks better, but it might be, I'm not sure which one is more important, or if it's troubling that MRR goes down while revenue goes up. I think if you work a lot with promo codes, MRR might give you a false idea of how much you are actually creating revenue, and especially the lifetime deals, they do not count it to MRR at all. So yeah, I'm a bit torn with that, but I'm definitely, at least in the tweets, I will definitely share revenue, and I can also share with you the new open page that I'm currently building. And there I will report revenue for sure. So this is the new open page from the new design that I'm currently working on, or that we are currently working on. And it will show revenue. It will show exactly the revenue that you just saw in Stripe, this graph here. It will not show monthly recurring revenue. It will just show actual revenue that happened. So I'm completely transparent, still being completely transparent with what's happening, and this is then available on the new website. So very interesting, at least for me, monthly recurring revenue versus revenue. I will share both very transparently. Here on the thumbnail, I might keep MRR for now. But let's see where this leads us in the future, just so everyone knows to have this in mind, when we are talking about these numbers. So the current price is 5 euros a month, as you know. There is a lifetime deal. Let me quickly open this up in a incognito tab, so you can see it's 5 euros a month, and there is a possibility for a lifetime deal, which the price we just increased, simply because Tresor got a lot more expensive in the background. It got a lot more feature rich and complete. And we will raise this, of course, as long as we have the lifetime deal, we will raise this, the better Tresor One becomes. So the people that committed early to pay for a lifetime deal, they are benefiting the most. But they also had the highest risk, right? They still have the highest risk that Tresor is failing. But yeah, that's basically also an investment strategy. So yeah, these are the current prices, and it was a random pick. I assumed like 5 euros a month is okay for a very small service to, keep the service afloat. We had the calculations here on the channel, 2,000 users to fund me alone with, let's say, 10,000 euros a month in revenue. I would be able to afford basically my life currently with my family and the cost of Tresor One, at least back then. And but everything is growing. The costs are growing. The team is growing. We have some higher expectations now. Of course, the user base is growing, and stuff is getting more expensive. So I was thinking of just raising the subscription, but I actually had a bit more thoughts about what makes the stuff actually expensive for us in the background. So even though this was a random pick, the important question is, what are the dimensions of scale, and how expensive is each dimension of the service? So what the hell does that mean? Let's look at how does this service scale? Yeah, where do we get problems? First one is, of course, amount of users. That's the most obvious. If you have 10 users, it's a different story than if you have 10,000 users, right? They have data, they have every service in the background that you use where you store them, like Stripe for the payment details or Xero for the logins, etc. Everything gets more expensive with more users, and of course customer service, etc. This kind of stuff is getting insane to handle. 10,000 users might be good to handle still from a technology perspective, but from a support perspective, like I'm getting so many messages, it's frankly very hard to keep up. Like I can't answer everyone within half an hour what I did in the beginning. I sometimes have to let them wait for 3 weeks because they are writing me with complex problems that I have to dig into, and I simply have not the time to do this for half an hour or an hour a day per person if the situation is complex. So amount of users, that is one dimension that a service can scale. The second one that this particular service can scale is amount of holdings and activities. So large portfolios, basically. A user has a portfolio with, let's say they bought Apple and they bought it 3 times in the past year. Simple. But let's assume someone has 200 holdings and 2,000 activities. A big difference. Not from the data that we store, but from the calculations that need to happen to display the portfolio value and the graphs and the performance and everything. And the third dimension, so we had large portfolios, we had amount of users, and the third dimension is time of existence of this portfolio, which means how far does it go into the past. If someone started investing 3 years ago, okay, that's fine, and we will load the data for the past 3 years. But if a person invested in the 90s, and this is exactly what happened in the past 3 weeks, people started to create portfolios and they started investing in the 80s, 89, 88. It's when I was born. So respect for that, but these kind of portfolios are the real cost driver, because I have to basically, sorry, I have to close notifications here. I have to basically load quotes, so historical data for the holdings to the 90s, so 30 years. And this kind of stuff is the actual expensive. It's expensive on data storage, it's expensive on calculation, compute time. And this is what happened in the last 3 weeks, where I had quite some struggles and downtimes, a few hours every now and then, simply because the scale wasn't. So these dimensions, scaling these dimensions, the infrastructure was not able to handle that, especially if multiple of those scale at the same time. So if someone has 3,000 activities, 200 holdings, and holds 5 or 6 of them since the 90s, this is expensive on every scale. So that's the actual metrics that I will think about in the new pricing model. And I'm showing you now what I thought of. It's not, if you are a user, this is not an announcement or something. These are just my thoughts on where it can go and where it can lead. And I just drew this up today, but it's definitely the path that I will follow in my head. And at some point we will probably arrive at something like this. So most importantly, the lifetime deal will be gone. And we move to monthly and yearly subscription. The lifetime deal currently is okay, but normally you do this lifetime deal if you need upfront cash. If you need cash to invest, and currently it's like 4.5 years worth of subscription. But this becomes a lot more difficult, the lifetime deal, if you have multiple plans, and it becomes a lot more difficult if a lot of people do this, and you basically guarantee them what the highest tiers and everything. Like, let's say I just grant them every feature and every tier, basically everything unlimited. That becomes too expensive to handle if a lot of people do that. But currently it was fine, it is fine, I still keep it. It's for me a good way to measure how many people see value in the product for a long time. So if someone currently buys the lifetime deal for 279 euros, 280 euros, it signals a lot to me and to us that that they believe in the product, and that's a good thing to know currently. So it's a part of valuation of the product itself. But I think at some point we will go away with this. And now to the important part: what dimensions do we scale and also make more expensive? Portfolios and history. These are the important parts. So portfolio is like this currently. So we have free and plus. That's basically what we have today in the pricing. Free and plus, or here Tresor One Plus. And then I was thinking of creating 2 more. I don't know how to name the middle one. And then we have a pro version, and the portfolios scale like this. We have 1, 5, 10, and 20. You might think, who has 20 portfolios, who has 10 portfolios, or wants to do 10 portfolios. So it depends on how you want to distribute your stocks, but also if you have a family, if you manage multiple portfolios. We have a couple users that have 5 to 10 portfolios simply because they have it in for the kids, for the wife, multiples on their own. So this would be the use case there. And of course, it comes with storage and everything, and history. So how far can you go back? And I'm thinking currently free version 5 years, plus version 10 years, so until 2010 currently. And then we have the new middle tier and the highest tier with 20 and 30 years into the past. So this is what I'm thinking currently. The history part here is the most important one. Everything down here is the same. So the features that are currently in the plus version, of course, will be available in the other ones as well. And we might add some specific features for the higher tiers as well. But the important part for me is the history here, because that is what's really, really expensive. From a computation time to data storage to querying, everything gets very expensive there in the background, especially when the portfolios grow larger and multiples. Yeah, so that's the current thinking behind it. It's probably where we will go to. The prices here are also, nothing is set in stone yet, but it's my current thought process. And I'd be curious what you think. If you are building a SaaS, or if you're a user or whatever, post it into the comments. This is all necessary steps here, and experimenting with the pricing as well to get Tresor to a sustainable future where we can actually pay some of the people in the team, or all of the people in the team ideally, and cover all the costs. Because as you know, if you're following along, this journey is currently paid by free time and private money. So we definitely have to get on some sustainable footing here. All right, that has been it for this video about software as a service pricing and what I'm doing on Tresor One. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one. And if you want to support the channel a little bit, even if I'm not that active right now, which I apologize for, but will do better in the future, like, subscribe, share it, you know the drill. Talk to you in the next one. Bye.